Scrubs, I hope you're well, and we're back in Horsehaven, and I'm joined by Kosetsu.
Hello everyone.
So it's been a while since I have done a Horsehaven video at all. There's been a lot of new horses added over February and into March. In February we had the addition of the exclusive Mars. Wasn't a horse that I collected. Then we had elves. I did actually get elves from the lassoing event. Flower Fairy was not one that I collected. Cherry Blossom wasn't available to me, but I did make sure to get the tier 4 cert for Alice, and I have got that horse in my stable currently. Going into the March horses that we got, we had the addition of the Carmelo Draft. It's not one that I've bred yet, but I hope to do that soon. Exclusive Moon, which looks to be a very nice horse, but I don't have it. Bunny, which was one that I do have. I've managed to get up to tier 2 on the Bunny. Rainbow I didn't get, and I didn't get Firecloud either. I haven't bred the tier 4 Wicked Stepmother, but I do have the certificate for it. I think for a lot of people, the horse lassoing event went on for quite a long period of time. It did start back, I think, at the beginning of February, and then it rolled way into March, and then right the way into late April. It was an event that went on for a seriously long amount of time. There were a lot of horses on offer, and it meant that a lot of people ran out of space.
Speaking of space, I am having that exact issue. Now, if you take a look at my ranch here, I have a ton of horses just wandering around in my paddock, and I even have a subgram stable for the subscription. There was just so many horses that you could get. It was pretty crazy, and I'm still trying to train the horses up to level 15 to sell them to get the diamonds for them, so I'm just kind of stuck on this ranch right now.
I mean, the one thing I don't know how many people also experienced this. For me, the lassoing event, I actually just straight up quit playing it. And the reason was when I was throwing my lassos, it didn't matter if I did it on BlueStacks or if I did it on my tablet. When I would throw the lassos, it was kind of like what happened the last time the lasso event was here, and I think I showed that in that video, where the lasso just left and disappeared off into the distance and just kept going and going. And it did this every single time I threw a lasso, and I just got fed up because it meant I wasn't catching horses. In the last lasso, this is prior to the February one, that happened a few times, but during the February, March, sort of April lasso season, it was happening so much that I just got fed up trying to collect enough to get Imagine, because Imagine was the only horse that I was aiming for.
I did end up getting Rainbow. I did not like Flower Fairy very much. It was not the kind of horse I liked. That flower was just way too big on its head, so I went for Rainbow instead. I didn't have any problems with the lasso flying off into the distance. That wasn't really an issue for me. I did actually end up saving all of my lassos until the very last day to throw them. So I threw all of my lassos a couple of hours, or maybe it was more like 10 hours, I can't remember, before the event ended, and then I picked up Rainbow and Clown.
I really did want Imagine. Really did. And I just got so fed up, and it was so near the end of that event. I thought, I have so many of these lassos saved up because I've logged in and I've done the collecting of them, and I can't seem to use them.
I have to say that I did try to do my best to log in every day to get the lassos, but I did not succeed every day. So the amount of lassos that I had that you can see on the screen wasn't the total amount that you could obtain if you did it every day, because there was some days where I did maybe half of it and missed the rest.
Overall, I really hated the lasso event. I was so over and done with it. But what I will say is, in its favour, it did offer a lot of new horses, and a lot of horses that I wouldn't have had access to before if I'd been able to get it to work. So I did like that aspect of it, but I just was very sort of fed up with the fact that it wasn't working for me.
Can we also talk about how many horses that they're bringing to the game? New horses every month, every update, the major update that they do is just way too many. Yeah. Way too many. I cannot keep up with the breeding. I basically took some time off a little bit, and I am so far behind on the breeding, it's crazy.
I would agree, because there has been a lot of horses added, and this has sort of been picking up pace. There's a lot of horses that I want them to go back and kind of update, and they are kind of doing that to a degree. But I think there is so many now, and like obviously you have your free horse and you have your special one or your season one and things like that. And out of all of the ones that we had between February and March, I had, 3? You know, the elves one I got, and I got the bunny. And I got Alice, but I just had to get the cert for that. And I will eventually have Wicked Stepmother, because obviously I do have the cert for that, I just have to breed it. But yeah, there was a lot, and it's, to a degree, I feel like I'm also falling behind in it too.
Yeah, I really do think that they need to cut back the amount of horses that they're releasing every month, because for people who can't spend 8 hours a day or less, you know, maybe 6 hours a day or something, sitting there Mustang farming to get the diamonds to speed up the breeding, to, you know, spend more diamonds to get the chance of the upgraded tier, it's not realistic.
I just feel like the problem that I have, and this is a problem I've seen in other games in the past, is if there's too many sometimes, you start to feel overwhelmed and you start to shut down. And that has happened to me in other games where there's so much new stuff all of the time. Like, one of the biggest pet peeves that I have with Horsehaven right now is the fact that every time I log in, I get maybe 9 adverts on the first login, you know, of offers.
They need to stop that. You know, if I want to look at the ads, I can click on it on the side of the screen. I don't need you to tell me every day what I just clicked off of yesterday.
Because I'm fine with, like, let's say it's a new offer, show it to me once, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe twice in an entire week. But have the fact that every time I open the app, I have to click off these, it just really winds me up. And the problem is, as well, the game's been laggy, just in general. So it takes time to, like, close these and stuff like that, and I'm just fed up with that particular part of logging in and having to go through that every single time.
Speaking about time, the amount of time that it takes to send horses out to train is absurd. Because of the lag that's involved when you bring up your friends list, especially if you have a really large friends list like I do, it takes forever. So you're like, oh, let's quick log in, let's do our dailies, let's send our horses out to train. No, this is like 2 hours later, I've sent all my horses out to train, and it's not great sitting here spending at least an hour and a half sending horses out to train, and then maybe 30 minutes to do the dailies. I definitely don't like that.
I mean, like, I would be fine if they did something for those that paid for subscription or yearly or whatever, and they said, right, well, here's a train all button. You know, I think I'd be fine with that, because although I don't pay for subscription, I don't pay yearly or anything like that, I would be losing out in that. But for just in terms of them supporting their game, it would make me consider it purely for that one thing, because I would love to be able to just click one button and train as many, or multi-select as many as easily as possible, because the fact is right now you have to go in and individually select. And as you say, the bigger your friends list seems to be, the slower it seems to get. Because my list loading time was a lot quicker, you know, last year.
Yeah.
It's got progressively slower the more people I've added.
Yeah, they definitely need to do something about that, because it's getting worse and worse.
The other thing that they added in March was the order center, where you could basically rent or sell horses. And I'll be completely honest, for the first, like, couple of weeks, I had no understanding of what it was. I didn't touch it. I didn't even click on it. And then eventually I was like, I guess I should go see what this is about. And then I managed to do like 2 of the little quests that they have. And then none of the other horses I have available to me. And they don't seem to change. It seems to be set ones that you have to do. So because I don't have the breeds that they're asking for, I'm just stuck.
Yeah, to be quite honest with you, I haven't even touched the order center. 2 hours on Horsehaven is too much time, and that's basically what I spend on this, sending my horses out to train and doing the dailies. So I don't have time to sit here and look at this order center when I'm seriously stuck for an hour and a half or more sending my horses out to train.
I mean, I usually pick whenever I'm watching TV or eating or something. That's usually when I'll do it, because then it doesn't feel like, because I'm not just sitting focusing primarily on it, at least I'm doing something else, and that's usually how I try to work around it. But yeah, no, I think there's definitely some areas there. I understand, like, for them, they need to make money to support their game. Don't question that at all. That's why if, like, they did bring something in that was like if you're a subscription or you're a yearly, you have a button to train all and it's done, I'd be fine with that. That would actually make me consider you know, buying that subscription or buying that yearly because it saves time. And I think that's usually what most of these games push, is purchases to make you save time. But this is one thing I think that I'm kind of surprised they haven't done that. They haven't utilized that kind of function in this game.
Yeah, they really need to update the training system.
The other thing that was then added in April is the Kentucky Derby's back. They added like a tarot card game, and I at first thought it was just going to be another regular, you know, the regular Kentucky Derbies that we've had. I was so glad that we haven't seen that lucky sprint board that we got at Christmas back again, because I detested that. It was just so rigged.
That is quite the opposite of lucky. That was like rigged sprint. Yeah. I hope they never bring that back, and if they do, they need to fix it, because you would roll the same exact number and land in the same exact spaces
over and over
every single time.
Yeah, no, I got really thoroughly fed up with that one. I have been liking the tarot card game a lot more. It's quite simple, it's easy to get done. The only thing that I hate doing, I've come to this conclusion, is dressage. Because obviously you have to do dressage to get some of the tokens, steeplechases, and also the regular races. And I've kind of got really fed up with dressage, because dressage takes so long, there's no way to skip through it. It's not like whenever you run a steeplechase and you can decide to crash into the fences to make it end quicker, or, you know, go as long as you kind of want. With dressage, you know, it's always the same amount of time. And my biggest problem with dressage overall is just the fact that there's no skill involved with dressage. It's basically, you train your horse up, you might get a little bit of random number generator score in there, and whatever items your horse is wearing, and then it'll be down to how many friends you can get to like your picture for dressage. And I know it doesn't have any bearing on the amount of tokens you get from the event, but it's the fact that I just don't like doing dressage.
I totally feel you on that. I'll set up the horse to do the dressage, and then walk away from it for like 2 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes, because it's boring. It literally, I've seen the moves 100 times. Most of the tier 4, tier 3 horses have the same exact move sets.
Yeah.
It's not interesting enough. Like, it's the same exact pool of skills for those tiers, and I don't like that. I think it should be every single skill is available for every single horse, and then you can pick and choose which ones you like. They need to add some kind of skill into it. What I have found to speed up the process is just take a horse that isn't trained at all. It only has 2 skills. It takes half the time. Mm-hmm. That's what I do.
I'm going to do that from now on, because I always take my good one. That's probably why it takes too long. But yeah, no, I just feel like I loved dressage when it first came out, because I was like, this is super exciting. This is really cool. I get to watch them do all the moves. And now, like a year later, and I'm like, please make it stop. So yeah, I'm just, that's where I kind of am on that. I know I've kind of gone a little bit off topic with that, but in April we have had some more new breeds. There is the Irish Draft, the Pinto, the exclusive feature Nurse, Akata, Chief, and Celestial, and then we also have 2 new tier 4 certs that have been added. Glimmering Fairy Horse, which is the first fantasy horse we've ever had a tier 4 cert for, and also Glacial Fairy Horse. The tier 4 cert for it isn't currently out, but it might be out soon. But these, I am really glad that they're finally doing something with the fantasy horses, because it's kind of been a while since we've really had anything. We've never had a tier 4 with them before. The only horses that I currently have out of these, I have the Irish Draft. I also have Akata, which is like seaweed, sort of kelp kind of style. It's quite pretty. It looks like its coat is like the ocean waves, and the colours are very like coral and algae and kelp and sort of seaweed. It's quite pretty. And then the Glimmering Fairy Horse, I did get the tier 4 of it. It's nice. It's like a slightly updated version of the tier 3.
Yeah, like I said before, they even upped the amount of horses compared to February and March and April. Like this event that's going from April to probably the end of May. We now are seeing even more horses. We got 2 new commons, and then we've got 4 new exclusives on top of 2 new tier 4s. The amount of new horses is only ramping up, which is pretty crazy. I feel sorry for the newer players. I really do. Like, I feel like I can't breathe breeding with the amount of horses that we have coming out. I'm way behind on breeding right now. I'm not going to spend diamonds to speed it up because that, to me, it's wasteful. The only time that I ever speed up the breeding or use diamonds to get that next tier is on a horse that I'm going to diamond, because then I know I'm going to be spending a lot of time working on that horse, so it's going to be worth those diamonds.
I feel like right now we only have, 5 breeding houses in the entire game, and honestly, for the amount of horses that we need to work on, probably need like 5 times that, which I know we're not going to get, but yeah, there's a lot. I also thought it was interesting because a lot of the puzzle piece recipes have been updated now. So we also have Restrike Derby, Fiona Derby, Rosie Derby, Icy Derby, Dalian Derby, Fargo Derby, and Kamari Derby. The drops that are currently out for me are Restrike, Peter, and Ancient General. I already have Ancient General and the Peter Derby one. The thing about the Restrike, though, is the Restrike Derby horse was available in one of the previous events a little while ago, and I got it there. It's the same kind of for the Fiona, I think the Rosie, I think I have that one. I definitely have Dalian and Fargo and the Kamari. The only one I think I'm missing out of all of those new puzzle piece recipes is Icy Derby. And the problem, I think, with the puzzle pieces is I can't, rule out the horses that I already own. I feel like the puzzle pieces should update, and if it sees that you have that horse in your account, then it doesn't give you the puzzle pieces for that horse. Now,
there is a slight issue with that, because, for example, people accidentally sell their horses all the time. Mm-hmm. And for example, let's just say you got the horse through one of these events.
Yeah.
And then you sold it.
Yeah.
Well, then the only way for you to actually get that horse again is one, through another event, or two, to breed it again through the puzzle pieces. So I get what you're saying about that. There maybe should be an option to opt out of a certain one.
Yeah.
But that could be tricky.
Well, even I guess that it would just automatically say, "Oh, you've already got this horse. We'll then validate it, that it's got all the puzzle pieces for that." I know that then it means that, there's not as much work involved as getting the other ones, so I guess for that reason they'll probably not do it, but it's just something that I just don't like about the puzzle pieces whenever I'm in a situation where there's one that I'm going to really, really want. So I am going to work as hard as I can to get the 80 pieces for each individual horse, just so that then they won't show up for me again at future events, so that I can focus on the horses that I really do want. So that's what I'm hoping for that.
Yeah, one thing I'm going to point out about the puzzle piece horses is Icy Derby. Icy Derby has not come back for free for at least a year, I'm thinking. I don't know the exact timetable on this, but I have not gotten Icy Derby. So I'm really excited about this horse because it's like the only one that I'm missing.
I think Icy Derby is the only one missing for me as well. I'm pretty sure every other one that's been added I have in some shape or form. Overall, I think, anyway, from the last few months, there's just been a lot going on in Horsehaven. I'd be curious, if anyone who's only recently started Horsehaven, are they enjoying it, or are you finding it, too much? I know that possibly people have different opinions on whether they think it's too much. Some people really love it and some people won't. I'm just the kind of person that, when there's too much, sometimes I'm just like, I can't take this. I can't deal with it.
I guess you kind of have to look at it from different perspectives. Somebody that can spend a lot of time sitting on the game all day and doing this stuff, farming diamonds, that Mustang farming and stuff like that, they probably are enjoying it because it's something to use their diamonds on. It's something to work towards at a faster pace. Mm-hmm. But for other people on the flip side who don't have that kind of time to sit on the game for that long to do those things, it's overwhelming. It's too much.
Part of the problem that I have had is I cannot get a free breeding house right now to Mustang farm because there's so many other things that I need to breed. So that's been a big problem for me. And for quite a while there, a lot of my breeding houses and my ground stables, I couldn't put horses out of the breeding house because my ground stable was full and my outside stables were full. And I was just kind of like, I can't move anything. I have kind of managed to sort that out since, because I've been training horses. Those 2 weeks, I would have said that I trained horses every single day, and I was really good at it. And I was making sure to do everything. So I did get a lot of horses that I needed trained up to level 10, and then I just sold them for diamonds. So that freed up a decent amount of space, so I'm not so stuck, but I do kind of need to rearrange my ranches again, and I think make one ranch purely just for Mustang farming going forward.
I have to say, a lot of the problem would be alleviated by another ranch. We have so many horses, we can't display them. We need another breeding house, at least one more breeding house, to help us with the amount of horses that they're releasing, so we can actually breed them without having to spend a lot of diamonds. Even if that ranch didn't have like the food, like the food and
the crop fields and things like that.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the word there. That would be fine. Or if they found a way for us to allow our friends to go through a special grand stable that they can choose horses to breed from and look at, that would be even better. Because I think it's very limited with the space that we have for displaying our horses and for allowing our friends to breed with our horses.
Yeah.
If we could have something that allows people to see this special grand stable where we have horses put up in there that people can come to breed, that would be pretty awesome.
Out of all of the horses that have been released over the past couple of weeks, what would be your pick? What's your favorite?
Oh, this is a tough question. I'm gonna have to say Celestial. I really like Firecloud, but Celestial has wings and also has that purple color to it. So they were kind of on even footing, but Celestial's got to be the horse that I really liked the most out of the last 3 releases of horses.
And was your least favorite Flower Fairy?
Yes, my least favorite was Flower Fairy. I didn't even bother to go after that horse. I could have bought it for diamonds because I definitely have diamonds that I can spend on that, but I did not like that horse. I'll wait for it to come back in an event and try to get it then.
Yeah. Out of all the ones that I've seen, one that actually surprised me, and actually is the one I'm going to choose, is actually the Irish Draft. I actually really like that horse. It's a very simple sort of plain horse, but I really liked it. The tier 1's like a solid black horse. The tier 2 I think is like a chestnut, I think. My tier 2 isn't out of the breeding house yet, so that's why I'm not 100% sure if it's a bay or a chestnut. And then the tier 3 is this lovely dapple, which I haven't got yet. But that would be the one that I like out of those ones. As for like a least favourite, it's hard to kind of pick one because there's quite a few of them I really haven't seen. But if I was going to pick one that was probably my least favourite, it's probably between Flower Fairy and the bunny. I do actually have the bunny, but I don't know why. It's just...
The horse is kind of odd.
Yeah.
The shape on it is a little weird. It kind of looks like it was meant to be a draft horse, but then didn't quite go that way. It's kind of odd.
Yeah. I wasn't overly keen on it, and I thought some of the colour choices were a bit strange for Bunny as well.
I don't like the hair covering his face like that.
Yeah.
Alright, so last thing that I want to talk about here is the season pass horses. We did a video a long time ago about the season pass horses, and eventually we will have another season pass for the remaining season pass horses coming out, so that'll include the Mars, Moon, and Nurse. We do have a Diamond Stat video coming in the near future.
Let us know down in the comments below what horses and events that you've really liked recently in Horsehaven, or particular aspects maybe you haven't liked certain horses or certain events. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. I hope you had a lovely day, and bye guys.
Bye now.